Okay, I'm here. I believe I got this going. I was trying to do the theater mode on it. There we go. Go live. I'll try that again. See if it'll open up in full screen. They're remaking or remastering one of the old Elder Scrolls games, Oblivion. Possibly.
You hold our future in your hands. Take with you my blessings
Oh,
and
that's
the hope of the Empire.
Patrick Stewart.
Find him and close shut the jaws of Oblivion.
Here we are 20 years later. When you think about the Elder Scrolls, to us it goes beyond game franchise.
Yeah, it's the DNA of Bethesda Game Studios.
Obviously, we're working on
And Oblivion
the
was.
6th chapter here.
I liked
But
Oblivion more than
what's great about the
Skyrim,
Elder
so.
Scrolls is being able to look back at all of the chapters. Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind, Daggerfall, Arena, and each of them try to define role-playing games and open-world games for their generation.
Oh my god, it's so old.
Fans got so connected with the worlds we've made and these stories we're telling, and it's really amazing.
Oblivion was a real defining moment in the series and for how we make games as a studio. I think when it comes to a remaster, we want people to feel the way they did then, but it's still a game of its time.
God, look
We
at
wanna
it.
keep those bones in place.
It's so
We want
2005.
Some of that old charm.
Coming back to Oblivion now with this tremendous visual update is absolutely amazing. It's the world I remember, but better.
There's so much there, both for the Elder Scrolls world and also this evolution of our games, I think is really, really important for people to take a look back at.
Looking
They're gonna
back
show us like a whole bunch of the old
seeing everything
footage,
we've accomplished
so that
in the
when we
past
see the
20
new stuff,
years
it's like
and working with
dramatic.
these people, like it's really special.
Yeah, there are still quite a few people that I've worked with for that long, and it sort of gave me the warm fuzzies.
Oh my God, it's been 20 years? I think the thing that gets me the most is the music. Like when you hear that music,
Such a good
at
era
the
in
main
gaming.
menu, there's just like... There's this like flood of nostalgia.
Oblivion is the beginning of who I am. As an individual, as a game developer, it all starts with it.
I don't even think it took me till release to realize how big this was.
People loved it. Like, they loved it.
The Xbox 360. This was a launch
Such a
game
key
for
moment
the 360.
in our history of making games and the evolution of how we build these worlds, and having players be able to come back and experience that is really amazing. We had that really special moment of coming out into the world for the first time. What that meant to this game.
Well,
Every time we think about Oblivion, it's what if we could give that moment to
6 is
everybody?
in the process right now, so I think that's why they had another studio
I was born
do the remaster.
87 years ago. For 65 years, I've ruled as Tamriel's emperor. But for all these years, I've never been the ruler of my own dreams.
And we get Patrick Stewart back.
I have seen the gates of Oblivion, beyond which no waking eye may see.
Nice. Dang.
Whether you're reliving these moments or experiencing them for the
Oh
first
man, it's gonna look
time,
so good on
the
modern
world of
consoles.
Oblivion Remastered immediately looks and feels
Whoa,
incredible.
dude.
When we decided to remaster Oblivion, we were really picky about finding the right partner. From the very beginning of this project, we had one rule. We weren't going to do this if we weren't going to be able to do it right. Our partners at Virtuous went above and beyond to bring our vision to life. The care and love they've poured into the Oblivion Remaster has been absolutely breathtaking.
Welcome to Paris, and welcome to Virtuous. Our team here has been hard at work delivering the best remastered Oblivion experience
Man.
possible. We've worked with Bethesda Game Studios on other projects in the past, so we know what makes that team and their games special.
Like Oblivion and Morrowind. Oh man, if they did a Morrowind, that'd be incredible.
We wanted to
But
make
Oblivion
the
and
remaster
Morrowind were so
more
good,
friendly
but
to
it was so
gamers with
easy to
modern
like
hardware. This is Oblivion in its most complete form.
get lost in the washout of the graphics of the time.
About time someone got here.
Bro.
Huzzah!
Those familiar with only some Elder Scrolls lore will now be able to experience the events that set the stage for Skyrim. You embark on an epic journey to stop the Mythic Dawn cult.
The time of cleansing draws nigh.
There are so many times I got so close to beating Oblivion, and then I got the vampirism, and eventually just gave up and restarted like a year later.
Why are there only 8 divines instead of 9? In addition to the core game, the remaster contains all add-ons, including story expansions, Shivering Isles, and Knights of the Nine.
Okay.
So you get the full experience.
On a personal level, it was really important to me to ensure that we're preserving the magic of the original experience. At the end of the day, we're all fans too.
This is a dream project for me, right? I mean,
It's gonna be so weird to see Oblivion look better than
I played Oblivion for
Skyrim.
perhaps 10,000 hours.
Oblivion was my first Elder Scrolls game, and it was one of the games that made me want to
Hello.
be a game developer.
The best way to describe it would be to call it a love letter.
You will find your own path, but there will be blood and death before the end.
Lots of blood and death.
The The technology we used to create the original was cutting edge at the time, but tools have come a long way
Yeah,
since then.
incredible difference. It's
The
so hard to
original
believe it was
Oblivion
20
is
years
still
ago.
the heart and soul of the remaster, but we use Unreal Engine 5 to help achieve all our visual goals.
Yes.
We think of the Oblivion game engine as the brain and Unreal 5 as the body. The brain drives all the world logic and gameplay, and the body brings to life the experience that players have loved for almost 20 years.
But it's not just about pure fidelity. We knew we had to preserve the distinct
The
style,
lighting is so good.
making it as uniquely Oblivion as possible.
The brush opens a portal into the painting. You're stuck here like I am.
The Isles, a wonderful place. Good for a visit. Or eternity.
We've leveraged
I'm
nearly
definitely gonna have to
every major
rewatch after
feature
the
from
stream
latest version
to
of
see
Unreal
how
5.
good it actually looks, because I'm watching it
Our
in
goal
like
was to push the visuals to the next
480p
level using the latest
for the stream.
technologies. We created brand new, highly detailed character models and stunning landscapes that use millions of polygons in each asset, allowing us a truly impressive level of detail in the world. Every single asset in this game was completely redesigned and handcrafted from scratch.
We implemented an advanced real-time
Yeah, so-
lighting system that accurately simulates how light
So it's
interacts
not
with
just
the
a
environment.
like, oh, we
This
added the
results in more realistic
higher resolution
lighting and
textures and
atmospheric
then
effects.
boom.
While the original game had limited dynamic shadows, now the entire world reacts naturally to light.
So cool.
We used an incredible new lip sync technology that really enhanced performance in our characters.
Oh gosh, that's gonna be big.
Unreal tools
Because Elder
helped
Scrolls
us
is
create the
notorious
base
for
mesh
the
of our
weirdly
characters.
lip-synced characters.
From there, our artists sculpt each race individually to adapt it to the mesh, allowing us to share the model, rig, and textures. As a result, all races, including Argonians, Orcs, and Khajiits, are built on the same base mesh, making the lip sync system more effective even when the characters have very different
Okay,
facial
that's
features.
smart.
Welcome to the guild.
We have access to so many modern rendering features. You'll see them in something as simple as running through a forest. Insects flying around, fish swimming in the water, light filtering through the leaves. Thanks to these technological advances, you feel even more immersed in this living, breathing world. You'll really believe you're in Cyrodiil.
I believe you can handle a more complicated assignment. I would like you to retrieve a carved panel from the central chamber of the High Fane.
Man, it's so crazy like remembering this stuff, but it looks so much better.
It's not just visuals that we've modernized in the remaster. It's gameplay. It's UI and UX.
Yes, badly needed.
We've updated features and systems across the board.
We've changed the approach to leveling, which I think will make a lot of people happy. It's inspired by the leveling systems of both Oblivion and Skyrim, so it's the best of both worlds.
Okay.
We were able to fully recreate the character models, creating a physicality that feels more human. You see that in places like combat animations, where there's a lot more separation between the upper and lower body, and all the animations have more flourish. Combat in the original Oblivion didn't have sound effects, visual effects, or hit reactions.
I
Now
never.
you'll get blood splatters, sparks, and controller feedback. You know, it's a
I
little
guess
thing,
because of playing
but little
Skyrim for
things
so
add
long,
up
I
to
just
make
never
combat more modern
remembered that.
and engaging.
There's a proper third-person perspective now. The original had third person, but there was no crosshair, and we felt the experience could be modernized.
Nice.
One of our goals
I love
was for a
playing third person.
view that compared to Starfield in terms of playability. Now, the third-person perspective has all the same control you get from the first-person view.
You have my ears.
Yeah, third person always felt
Oblivion
kind of
first
tacked
class.
on in the
Greetings.
original.
How goes it? How are you?
Disk storage
How
limits
goes
meant
it?
We couldn't have unique voiceovers for all the races. So we've gone back and recorded new lines of dialogue. Each race represented in the game now sounds unique.
Can't stand the sight of those creatures.
We also made sure to keep in all of the quirkier dialogue.
I really like the way they say hello. Sometimes it's so random, and then they just, hi there.
Hi there.
But it's like so nice and creepy at the same time.
She's cute.
Stop! You violated the law. Stop! You violated the law.
Stop, criminal scum.
Stop right there, criminal scum. Cheese for everyone.
The animation is so much better.
For everyone! We are going to steal one of the Elder Scrolls from the
That looks like the
Imperial
Romulan
Palace.
Senate
You
from
need to
Star Trek
find the
Nemesis. I always
remedy.
forget it looks like that.
The blind priests will deliver a scroll to you there. Do not speak to the priests. They're blindfolded. I've chosen you because you are the best.
Dude, I remember doing this.
Good luck.
Stop. You violated the law. Your stolen goods are now forfeited. Pay with your blood.
Run! Those
As
guards
games
were
have
always
developed
so
over the
overpowered.
past 20 years, players have come to expect a certain suite of tools and controls.
Like sprinting. Sprinting is an interesting one because it was such a big debate internally among our teams. Some of us were absolute purists, but ultimately, we decided it's 2025 and people are going to want to sprint. In fact, all of the character locomotion has been completely redone.
People
from
are going to
scratch,
want to sprint.
and that has a huge impact from the very beginning of the game.
Every
Oh, did
single
you see the
updated
animation for
or
picking
new
up the
feature
mushrooms?
Was implemented with the player in mind. It all comes down to what makes Oblivion Oblivion. What are those features that just immediately come to mind for players when they think of the game?
The mini games are the mini games. Those are so iconic to Oblivion.
It looks like it'll be easier to navigate the
Like lockpicking. You can put a fresh
Yes.
taste on it, but you can't change it too much because it's part of the core experience.
Whether you're returning
It looks
to
like it's going to be a lot easier
or you're a
to
newcomer,
use dialogue options.
Watch you and worship the
Oh
ground you
no.
walk on.
you will instantly feel at home. It just feels better. We've modernized a lot, but it's still the same incredible adventure and the same carefully handcrafted world.
Well, it's about time. Do you know how long we've been waiting?
It's the characters do look so much better, the NPCs and stuff.
Oblivion is a core part of the story of Bethesda Game Studios. None of what we're surrounded by right now would be here if we hadn't made that game and if it hadn't been the success that it was. The effort that we put into it, the sort of the love that
Not only
we put
that,
into
but
it,
it's going to be running at
across
like
the
high
screen.
frame rates as well, so it's going to be like
I've
smooth.
worked on something that people care enough where you're in a position where you can remaster it. It's a privilege.
And now, to help introduce this game
It's so
to
beautiful.
a new generation of players, I feel so lucky.
I really think that people, when they jump back into the remaster, they're going to be shocked at just how good the game looks. The Oblivion gates look absolutely incredible, and I think they're just going to find themselves lost in the world.
Even if it's just the music, for example, just walking around for half an hour in the world, you feel
It's just I've always liked
And that's
Oblivion,
precious.
the story and
Going back
world
to a world that you've been to
more than
before,
Skyrim. However,
it's better
Skyrim was
somehow.
always
Like,
more
it's an
playable
intangible thing,
than
but it's
Oblivion.
like-
So
It's new, it's fun, like it's exciting again.
But it's ultimately the same game. There was a lot of respect for what was before, and I think the fans will appreciate that.
From all of us at Bethesda Game Studios,
And Virtuous.
we want to thank you.
also us too, who did the work.
Oblivion has a very special place in my heart, and being able to work on this remaster and bring it to a new generation of players has been an incredible experience. We were too excited to get it in your hands and didn't want to just show it off to you and then make you have to wait.
Come on, come on.
The best part of my job is that I get to be the one to announce that the Oblivion remaster will be available
Yes.
today.
Yeah. And I bet.
was born 87 years ago. But for all these years, I've never been the ruler of my own dreams.
Oh my god, dude. Look at this.
This is the 27th of last seed, the year of Akatosh 433. These are the closing days of the Third Era, and the final hours of my life.
Dang.
I have seen the gates of Oblivion.
Anytime you can have Patrick Stewart.
I may see. This is only the beginning. Worse is yet to come. Looks clear.
A trap! The time of cleansing draws nigh.
Who now will save us from the coming darkness? Here you must find your own path.
Remember the Emperor!
Find him and close shut the jaws of Oblivion.
So good. Available today. Game Pass? Game Pass? On Game Pass. That's right. Stay tuned for a special gameplay stream. Now by today, do they mean like right this minute? Like I could start downloading it? So yeah, that looks amazing. The fact that it's out today is even better. I mean, I kind of knew they were going to do that. Like it just felt like if they were doing this stream today, if they were showing it off today, that they were going to tell us it was available already. Do they mean here or somewhere else? That's what I'm curious. I would think they mean here. Either way, give me just a second. I'm going to see if I can start it downloading. Okay. Yeah, it looks like they did a really good job on that. Really good job. Graphically, the little tweaks and updates to the quality of life stuff, basically, for gameplay and... Because third person, even in Skyrim, like third person always felt kind of tacked on. And so the fact that they are fixing that is nice. And then the fact that they're doing all the graphics and stuff through Unreal Engine is huge. Alright, let's see. Where's the bean test? Just have to search it. I do not see it on here yet. Yeah, I don't see it on here yet. So today probably means like later today. So, pretty cool. We'll definitely be downloading. If you have Game Pass, then you'll have access to it later today. Well, oh.
Wow. What did we just witness? The worst kept secret ever?
The worst kept secret ever?
Probably. But you just witnessed the Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered Direct. That is coming to you today. Maybe even now. I don't know. We'll have to check after this stream. I'm joined by the wonderful, talented, incredible Wes Johnson.
Hi.
And Wes, who do you have here with you?
This is Finn. Oh yes, he knows his name now. Hello there, Finn. How are you?
Oh, that voice is familiar.
For the sake of this, we can call him Barbas if you'd like. But he's a sweetie pie, and he wanted to get his time, Mr. DeMille.
That makes sense. I wouldn't. If I had a new puppy, I would totally bring that puppy with me everywhere.
I take him everywhere. You ever heard the Harry Nilsson's puppy song?
No.
He's like, I take my puppy everywhere. Da-da-da-da.
Well, for you, those of you joining us, either new or from the direct, we're going to be sharing some gameplay of Wes's old stomping grounds, but newer now with the remastered version.
I can't wait.
So, Wes, for those that do not know you, first, shame on you if you don't. But if you don't, why don't you tell our friends
So people keep
what
yeah.
roles or role you have done in Oblivion?
In Oblivion, you're going to probably bring some memes back to life.
Can't wait.
So if, like, you walk out of someplace with a fork, I would be there going, "Hold criminal scum. Stolen goods are now forfeit. Pay with your blood." That's a lovely one.
That's
the
very
Imperial Guard
aggressive.
song is out there now, and all sorts of things that people had fun with. Sheogorath, Daedric Prince of Madness, at your service. And I love this because I'll never be able to order a cheese pizza again because people use the soundboard and they call the pizza shops and they're saying, what can I do for you today? Cheese! You want a cheese pizza? I want cheese for everyone! Oh, how many would that be, sir? And so I can't call anywhere as Sheogorath to order a pizza because I'll never get it, or I'll get it with a lot of spam.
I mean, honestly, you're doing
Oh,
everybody
hang on
a
a second.
favor if you do. So.
Yeah,
I mean, and your shirt is totally on theme today as well.
Yeah, wearing my Sheo shirt. I've got, and of course, there's where is it? My Dark Brotherhood pin here. Lucian LeChance of the Dark.
Interesting. The deluxe edition upgrade is already available for $10. That's funny. It basically just gives you like
So yeah,
unique digital Akatosh and Methrune's dragon armors, weapons, and horse armor skins,
I've loved all the games.
and a digital art book and soundtrack app. So they've already got that up.
I love Skyrim, which is fantastic, but Oblivion to me was where I came out to play, and it was the original. All the races had the same voices. Oh man, there's so much crossbreeding amongst the Imperial Guard.
There was so much crossbreeding.
The family reunions were very confusing. But
it's a lot of love.
I know, but I just absolutely loved that game, and as other games came along, and then you got to see Skyrim with its 10th anniversary edition, and when I first put that on the Xbox Series X, oh my God, the visuals to me were just, I was blown away.
Oh, it's on the store. It took me a second to find it, a little bit roundabout, but it looks like it's $50 to buy. However, if you have Game Pass,
I mean, if I walk up to a lady in the middle of
it is included, and I'm installing it now.
She turns around and does not look like Terry.
I need to clear up some internal space.
Monty Python. I don't know what I'm going to do.
What shall go?
But I mean, I love the game, so now people are going to get a chance to see it with brand new eyes. And for people who've only ever played Skyrim, this is going to be kind of a revelation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the predecessor, so it's taking people back.
Oh man, it must be kind of a big download.
And this is the mouth to the Shivering Isles. Look at the difference, the graphics.
Yeah, it's got to be a bigger download because
detail on this.
I have like 90 gigs available.
Not just on the backgrounds, not just every leaf on a tree, but looking at the clothing, at the uniforms that they're wearing. I mean, he's wearing leather, and he's wearing some fur, and you're seeing all the details on every little thing. This guard right here, this guard, people are like, that's so effective. He seems to have this cold out there in the middle of this island where the winds are whipping around, and I had a cold. I was really, really sick.
I had a cold.
But
you didn't have to go that hard into the role, Wes.
I know, I'm method, so method. But look at that. Now, there's the door to the fringe, and inside, what's going to happen? Oh, look at the screens. Even the screens. The loading.
I think the biggest thing for me is going to be, obviously the graphics are incredibly improved.
Haskell, look at him. They're all bald and boring.
Oh, bald and boring.
Haskell, your room's very dark, just like your personality. Hurry up and talk. Oh, look at the detail.
Hurry
on
up
Haskell's
and
face.
talk.
You can really see.
But just the smoothness of the gameplay, like that was the thing, is playing Oblivion on the 360. And I mean, obviously playing it on Series X, it was vastly improved in performance, but still, it wasn't natively like higher frame rate for consoles. So it'll be really nice to have that.
He just looks so weary, so put upon.
Well, it's been almost 20 years, so we've had a lot of ability for technical advancements from there. So
Yes, and imagine
and age, I guess. For
20,
him as well.
20 years in the service of Shea Gorath is going to age anyway.
Okay, so now it is installing. I had to clear up some space.
I like his puffy sleeves
Apparently
there.
it's
The little Seinfeld
fairly
puffy
large.
sleeves.
It is 120.
Now, what would you say?
123.2 gigabytes. Holy cow.
Oblivion, or which character do you feel?
That's
like
pretty massive update considering the original game fit on a 360 disc, which was about 8 gigs.
Sophie's choice, because you bring a little of yourself to every role you do. You got to bring. These are all like my children. So, I mean, I love Lucian. I love Shea Gorath. I love them all for very different reasons. I remember working with Mark Lampert for this game, and we're doing the same Imperial Guard voice, even the Gray Fox, like capital, but he's still very much the Imperial. But then he gets to Lucy and he goes, "This guy's a little different, a little darker, a little more macabre." So I think about it for a second, and I start going into this thing, and in my mind, you try to get an image of who the character is. And for me, he was twisted and gaunt and bent and just insidious.
Does it take you? Is it that quick for you sometimes when
All
you
right,
get
so
a
that
breakdown
is
of a character?
downloading.
And sometimes I take time.
That'll be ready to
Shea was a
play
different thing.
in a
But
bit.
With Lucian, I had a.
This guy's funny.
It's okay. With Lucian, the image I had in my mind as I portrayed him at first was completely different from the image of.
Oh, it's out now
You know, he ended up
across all platforms. I'm downloading it with Game Pass right now.
You know, and when we're looking at him going, "Oh my God, he's gorgeous. He has a heart of darkness, the perfect man."
So yeah, it's on PlayStation, PC, Xbox.
But he was so much fun to do. And people say, "Do you know what happened to him?"
But yeah, it's basically like
you just finish your line.
a straight up remaster. They basically the graphics and the visuals are all completely redone in Unreal Engine, while the core the core computation and logic of the game is still in the original creation engine, in the original engine that Oblivion ran in. Whoa. Oh, I remember this crap.
It's quitting time. Look at that.
Yeah, this is like the Alice in Wonderland thing. But so obviously, like here on the stream, I have it on a lower resolution so that it doesn't overwhelm my computer. But even running this in 480p, it looked incredible. So I can only imagine what it'll look like in.
Cuddly, you know, a Shea Gorath, I'll skip rope with your entrails.
Yeah, it includes Shivering Isles and it includes all the DLC that was in the game. I can't remember what it was. Shivering Isles and something else.
Where could I find my inspiration for this character? And I started.
But yeah, I remember doing this like Alice in Wonderland quest.
That I would love to have a drink with and laugh and joke, but afraid they might beat me up at the end of the night. And I came up with.
But yeah, they didn't make any like actual like structural changes to the game other than they essentially did quality of life stuff when it came to the user interface, leveling, and like third person perspective they were talking about how in the original games, third-person perspective really wasn't made the way that like first person was when it came to playability and stuff. It was just kind of like it was there, but it was like everything was still happening as if it was first person.
This character can go between an accent.
New quest for 2 new armor.
Like you think he might be Irish. You think then
and
maybe
weapon
he's
sets.
Scottish when he gets more manic. But what happens when he gets deadly serious? There are a few moments where it drops completely.
This guy, the guy talking right now, his name's Will Johnson. He was like one of the voice actors in the game.
He does what he wishes to do.
Probably most famous for being in the Imperial Guard.
Where you'll hear all 3 separate things. And he's like,
they also they redid the voicing so that all the races have unique voices and stuff. It's not like the same dude going hello for everybody.
And you just don't know where he's going to land with some of these things. Whether it's friendly, whether it's deadly, whether it's over the top, whether.
But yeah, they did the whole like actual reveal stuff a little bit ago.
Flow back and forth, and I think from what I was told later, Todd was listening to it and they weren't expecting that, and so it threw him off a little at first, and then the more he listened to it, the more
also they added sprinting because they said it's 2025 and people want sprinting. So
who Sheo became.
And you define the character through multiple games and multiple universes.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing to be able. I love more than anything trying to figure out who a character is, and the Rubik's cube of their personality and the whole thing.
And I imagine though the character is designed by somebody else, that you get to input a lot of your influence and sort of direction on it, even still.
Well, you have to bring a sense of life to it. Whereas when someone is writing it, they're bringing their sense of life to it, their experience. But you don't know their experience, but you know the circumstances of the character, and you can build something upon the character, and then live in that space, become somewhat that character, which is why
yeah, I mean,
one of them become like children of mine.
It's one of those things like that's pretty decent pricing for a game, and considering the scope of Oblivion and then what you're getting with it being modern, especially if you haven't played it repeatedly over the years. I feel like it's definitely worth the price. And then if you have Game Pass, then you just pay. You're already paying your subscription, so you get it. But
you look at Hermaeus Mora and you're like, 1 million eyeballs and 1 million tentacles.
it's just going to be nice for me to have like
that sound like
this experience again. I think the last time I played Oblivion was probably 10 years ago, and I've never actually gotten to complete the storyline because I would end up like really deep into the game, and then I would end up with like vampirism, and it just became like there were a couple times I actually tried. I was like, no, I've got to try and either cure this or like deal with it or whatever, and I would try, and it would just become like really frustrating, and I'd just give up. And then like a year later or something, I'd be like, Oblivion would be cool to play again, so I would start it again, and then it would happen again.
I know.
But I would get like really, really deep into the storyline and then have some crap like that happen.
Just like with every telepathic thing, you may have a better receptor to hear than another character would have.
Yeah, that makes
Some
sense.
people would have a less sensory perception, and so it might be a little more muddled. It might be a little more clicky. It might be a little draggy, because that is how your extrasensory perception of their voice is. However, if you're a little stronger and you've got a little bit more going for you in that regard, suddenly it's a little clearer. It's like the difference between the Beatles listening to Helter Skelter on vinyl, then later on CD. Oh, it's so much clearer. Manson was like, I wasn't meant to kill anybody after all.
What the heck?
So yeah.
Okay.
That's there. Long answer, but
it's a perfect
I
answer.
love doing it. I love doing it.
And I know you don't have necessarily a favorite character because they are your children, but do you have a
I think
favorite
it should cost whatever you're willing to pay to enjoy the experience. So I mean, like, I would probably, if it wasn't on Game Pass, I'd probably go through this next week of work or whatever and be like, yeah, I'll pay for it because I'm gonna play it and enjoy it. Because I'm not like looking at.
The only thing that bugs me is when Knights of the Nine came in.
It's not like they build the game entirely from the ground. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the story and the blueprint is made, and then like the programming for the, like I said, for the logic and stuff was basically already that they use that, but it's also completely visually remade.
The cheese line really took off. I mean,
in a new engine with new assets, completely rebuilt from the ground up, all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, it's not about me going like, oh, how much work did they put in to make this again? It's me looking at it going like, wow, this is like a brand new game, but it's Oblivion.
I mean, who doesn't love cheese?
And I can re-experience that 20 years later.
Really happy.
Yeah. I went to Amsterdam with the ESO crew, and went to
when it dropped the remake version.
It took a picture out there, and everybody was just like, "Well, there he is in his natural habitat."
Wait a second. Let me see what it says. But I also don't really expect it to ever be like Skyrim again, where it dropped the remake version
Probably would have made we had to ransack the whole shop
and handed it out for free on PC if you already had the other one. Oh, okay.
Yeah. How much cheese do you think you're gonna eat, sir?
I mean, it's also just a little bit different considering. What's up, Epic Legend? It's also a little bit different considering Oblivion has never received any sort of like upgraded like remaster or anything like that, and Skyrim was a lot newer
And this is something that does
when it came to being like in the digital ecosystem already. So
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so it's
you've basically been playing the same
So you get
without mods or whatever. You've basically been playing the same version of Oblivion for the last 20 years.
I was Pelno, but you know, it's one of the ones that people don't think about.
I also love the fact that they completely redid the facial animations and stuff too. So their lip sync system is a lot better.
From him later.
I'm looking at my friends off camera.
I forgot that I'd done the character.
I forgot that I had done the character.
Probably it's just like kind of blurs together.
Yeah, they did the reveal already. They showed a bunch of gameplay. They showed a bunch of like what they did to make the remaster, like the work that was put in for it, and how like the changes and stuff like that. And now they've got the gameplay there, so people can see like the game in motion basically. But then this is one of the voice actors from the original game.
The suicidal guy is begging you to kill him, and at the end he's like, "What are you doing?"
I mean, I guess, yeah. Brand new versus re-experience is something you have nostalgia for. Remakes, remasters just have a weird place. I mean,
right here, yeah.
Yep.
Craig Seckler is the adoring fan, and seeing him wearing one of those.
I didn't murder him, I swear. I mean, not yet, anyway.
Look at that. Like,
should I?
Yeah, in tribute to Craig.
like I said, for me, it's the fact that like there's so many of these games that I enjoyed them and they were a great experience, but there was always this like I wish there was more playable, I guess. And I was saying earlier, like I actually like the world and characters and like the storyline of Oblivion more than Skyrim. However, Skyrim was newer and more playable. Like the quality of life stuff was already there. The refreshments of gameplay and stuff, the little bit more refinement. So it was like a more playable game. But I think that the story and world of Oblivion I liked better. So to have that back and in a form that is even more improved and playable and visually, appealing and all those kinds of things is going to be pretty nice.
My first game was Morrowind, and I went.
I wish they would do Morrowind, because Morrowind, I have that game for original Xbox, and I can play it both on the original Xbox or on my Series X. I can put the disc in and play it, and it does improve it. It makes everything clearer, smoother, higher frame rate, all that kind of stuff. But the problem with Morrowind is graphically it's so outdated. Even back when I would play it in the past before like newer graphics and stuff,
croissant and just chat
but
and
with
walk around.
Morrowind,
And the thing is,
it's you would leave like a city or a village or something, and you're trying to get somewhere, or maybe even just explore to somewhere new, and you would like find yourself. One of two things would happen. You'd either find yourself back where you came from because you didn't know, you got turned around because you can't tell anything apart, or you would end up somewhere new, but you'd be like wandering around looking at everything like, wasn't this where I just was? Am I in the same place? And you think you were lost, but you were where you wanted to go. Because the like I said, it's a great game mechanically, and it's a again, Elder Scrolls games always have like these really great worlds and something you enjoy, but
voice acting was
it's missing the visual part that like we kind of like when you're driving down the street or something like that, you can identify where you are by like looking at the differences around you, right? And it was like very easy to get lost because of that. That's what I've said about Oblivion for years. It lacks so many just basic quality of life things that makes it hard to backpedal to. Yeah. Yeah, it's such a great game, but yeah, when you have the option of Oblivion or Skyrim, even if you like the world,
which was interesting because
the aesthetic and the story of Oblivion better, Skyrim is just that much more playable. So it's a lot easier to go, yeah, I'm going to go play some Skyrim.
I think in Unreal 2, like 200 different people dying in 500 different ways. I was basically
But
the equivalent of a Wilhelm scream.
The graphical updates, the lighting, the quality of life, like everything about that just makes it like easier to go into and be like, yeah, I want to be here and I want to play this. And the fact that they used Unreal for it is really good too, because it just like visually stunning.
And there were no boots of that would help me fly from one end to the other. Thank God there were no cliff racers.
What the
you don't want
heck?
to hear the screaming sounds of the cliff racer as you close your eyes and try to sleep?
I got some real Samuel L. Jackson choice quotes in on those cliff racers along the way.
Yeah, they said basically the underlying function of the game is the same,
and I lived in that
and is using the original engine, you know, basically for the logic and the mechanics, but the world was rebuilt in Unreal Engine.
Because you know the world not.
I mean, you can see the lighting, the character model, like it's pretty stunning. But and it makes sense because Unreal Engine's super flexible and easy for them to do that kind of thing. And so
these worlds become sometimes even more real than your own world. I was able to take. I started working with Mark Lampert, and he was like, with the Imperial Guards.
I'm about 1/4 downloaded. It's a pretty big download. Like I said, it's like 128 gigs on Series X. I'm sure it's different elsewhere because, like on Series S, for instance, it's not going to have 4K textures and stuff, I would think. But
I'm really proud that Lucien Lachance was one of the first voices that ever broke through the voice class system in Elder Scrolls. And by the time Shivering Isles came around, we had a bunch of different voices. Suddenly.
I don't remember what was the other DLC for this, or well, it was a DLC, but it was crazy because back then you bought a separate disc for it and installed it. But there was Shivering Isles and there was something else.
Like Linda Carter, who's been in these, you know.
Yeah.
That our party for Oblivion. A lot of the big game parties have been
Knights of the Nine. Yeah, okay. So it includes Knights of the Nine and Shivering Isles.
In a way, was kind of a lot more sedate, but still was big at the time. We went on.
But yeah, they did some work on the user interface, like how you navigate your inventory and all, just you know, modernizations on those kinds of things.
Eating dinner, going up top.
They created a base character model for NPCs, for instance. Like one base model that used the same lip sync, so that, and then they basically reskin it, obviously, for like all the different races and stuff, so that no matter which race is talking, the lip sync is still appropriate and looks correct.
Because when I started doing the arena announcer, I'd been doing the capitals for about, I guess we started recording this, what, in 2003? So I'd been the arena announcer for about 3 years. and I was learning who I was and doing things. And I asked Mark, "How do you want to do the arena now?" So he's like, "You know, kind of what you're."
Yeah, inventory. They said something about the leveling too. They showed it, but I did. It was pretty quick. But they said something they think that a lot of people will be happy with because it's a bit more of a influenced a little bit more by Skyrim.
Welcome to the arena, and I started taking some of that.
That was the main reason I kept quitting every attempted game replay.
And bringing it to the capitals. And
but like the inventory system's been updated, and then the leveling apparently it still fits the game, but it's got some influence from like Skyrim to improve it.
Rebel punk is what you are. I'm like, okay, well that's fine. So I'm a rebel punk, but I'm out there unleashing fury. I'm a fan with a microphone, and I'm going nuts. And a lot of the development into that started with Oblivion. What's really weird is that I've been doing that now for 25 years for the Capitals. And in that time, as other people retired and left the job, all the people who are out there saying,
man, this guy has got to be like, this is so cool. I just get to sit here and ramble on about my career and my old days in the 2000s.
Sounded like me. And we're doing the things I did. So 25 years later, guess what? I'm old school. Doing what I did when I was a young punk.
What the heck?
You know, thank you, Oblivion. Thank you, Mark, for helping change how I do things, you know, and that's the thing. Over this period of time that we've done these games, over this period of time that we've worked with all these different characters, I'm constantly learning and I'm constantly growing, and
I think he still is a voice in like modern Bethesda games like Starfield and stuff.
Like Johannes Verlaine in The Gold Road, where it was very emotional. It was a very emotional piece, and I was able to, as a parent, everybody has regrets. You know, no matter how good a job you've done, you have regrets. And I channeled that into this character who
so I don't know how long he's gonna
and left things unsaid and undone with his son.
How long they're gonna sit and talk with him.
You know, the magic of this world and Hermaeus. And
I mean, yeah, especially if they were pretty flexible from back in the, you know, Oblivion and Skyrim and stuff. Like, especially in Oblivion, they were voicing a lot of different characters, and there was so they said there was limited room in the disk space basically. Oh, looking at Atronak.
That one was intense. And she said, yeah.
So they would use the same voice files over and over again for a whole bunch of characters, and so that was why you would walk through a town or walk through, you know, the world, and half the characters sounded like the same person. It wasn't just because they were using the same voice actors, it was because they were literally using the same files because they didn't have another option. Now they've got apparently a lot more voices for the different characters, and the different races are more unique and stuff. But yeah, they probably have had some of these people working on their games since for 20 years.
Feel that, and I can make it real for me.
Because I'm sure he's like voices in games like Starfield and stuff.
Immersive for them, so
would say without question.
He's probably working on voice for Elder Scrolls 6.
Players experience or feel from the characters that you portrayed in Oblivion. Who may be experiencing it for the first time, or maybe they're returning to it and having played the previous version of Oblivion.
I think that it makes me very happy that these characters are going to get a second chance.
He's probably sitting like, yeah, I don't play video games.
Even
I just voice the characters.
I once took an arrow to the knee, you know. Even with that coming around, people still remember the Imperial Guards of Oblivion.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
You know?
I would say I see them probably second or third most from all Elder Scrolls titles, right? I'm looking at Jess over here. Another Jess. They jump scared me all
Yeah, the Imperial Guards from Oblivion are iconic. The lines they deliver, but then also like the overpoweredness of
Oblivion. I'm up in one of the towers, one of the Oblivion gates, and I do the Dromora, the Daedric warriors that suddenly pop up and fight and battle in the middle of Oblivion, and it's the middle of the night. I'm walking up a winding staircase, and suddenly I come out. Sorry, Finn. And I
didn't sign up for this.
I jumped, and I'm like, holy hell, I just scared myself.
Well, I was going to ask, do you find that you can disconnect from the characters that you've done and your voice in the game when you're playing as a player?
Yeah, you know, the thing is, when I'm playing the games, I am the character that I'm, you know, with the controller, that's me, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll listen to hear if the voice is immersive or if it stands out, if it didn't work. If it worked and it's fine, I'll let it go and I'll just enjoy the environment. That being said, there's something about people who are like, well, what do you play as? I'm like, I play as an Imperial. And they're like, every time I said, yes.
That was
because,
going to be a question.
well, yeah, I mean, if I'm going to be out there and I've got a big broadsword and I'm battling going, it's my voice. I'm the one who's actually doing the battle. As the Imperial, there's something kind of meta about that.
Yeah, totally.
There's something kind of meta about that. Love it.
Don't look at the screen, Finn.
Oh, man.
I feel like a skinned hound.
Yeah, you're not a skin hound. You're a furry hound.
Sorry, Finn.
Yes, you are.
So if you, as yourself, as Wes Johnson, were to be in Cyrodiil, who do you think you would be? Would you be like an adventurer or an alchemist or a sneaky archer?
Probably an adventurer. I was always the big sword guy. You know, I mean, going out and doing stealth and climbing with trees. And
The people that have been involved in some of these games for decades, it's pretty cool, especially when they were around in the 2000s and stuff. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. I mean, they're showing some gameplay now, but
go to jail for it. Yeah. Oh, look at that! Yeah.
If you want to watch it, it's gonna look better for you to go to the actual official streams for Bethesda or Xbox, because you could actually watch it in full resolution, whereas I've got this set at like 480p. So I tried at like 1080p, and then everything was like bogging down a little bit. And I was like, okay, 720p, and it was a little better, but I was like, you know, I want to make sure it's stable, and it's gonna be smaller on the screen anyways. So I put it at 480p. So none of this looks remotely as good as it should, you know. So now that the announcement reveal and all them actually talking about what they did with the game, and they're just sitting there having their little fireside chat here and recounting the old times, which is cool. Yes, absolutely. That was a big deal back then. Getting to hear his voice. He was the Emperor in the beginning, so it was really cool to hear his voice again, but attached to like a much better looking character. So I'm excited to hear that for sure. I remember when they announced that back in the day, that Patrick Stewart was going to be in Oblivion. It was like, what? That's crazy. He's going to be in an Xbox game.
The amount of diversity and range in the types of quests that are in Oblivion and stories that you hear are definitely exciting.
Granted, it was like only the one role in the beginning of the game, but at the same time, that was the Emperor. That was such a key figure and opening for the story. Yes, and Sean Bean's in it. Yeah, there were a lot of those actors that did some of these games back in the day. You know, in Fable, the Fable games, in particular like Fable 2 and 3, it wasn't in the original. But there were a bunch of voice actors in those, and one of them was Simon Pegg. I don't know if you know who Simon Pegg is, but he was like Scotty in the new Star Trek movies. He's in Shaun of the Dead and Mission Impossible and a bunch of other things. And so he's a really cool, familiar voice to hear when you're playing Fable and run into certain characters.
Completely vibrant and different and exciting. So I just loved that.
I'm still excited for the next Fable game. I thought the gameplay looked pretty good. I know that there was a bunch of like people criticizing the character model, but whatever. I think that they'll sort that out. So I'm still super excited for whenever
in DC, someone's like,
The next
"Patrick
Fable game
Stewart's
comes out.
downstairs ordering a
Been waiting
sandwich."
for a
I'm
long
like,
time.
Patrick Stewart eats sandwiches. We have
I
that
eat
in common. I
sandwiches.
eat sandwiches.
Patrick Stewart eats
And,
sandwiches.
by the time I got down there, this place that is notorious.
Oh, he's talking about meeting Patrick Stewart or working with him.
Putting out sandwiches, got his lickety split, and he was gone.
Oh man, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Here you go, Wes.
Oh my
The
goodness!
grand
Look
reveal.
at that. Oh, well, look at the hair. It looks like I've been using a little Grecian formula.
So what do you think now, almost 20 years later, seeing this take on Sheo?
I've always loved this Sheo. I've loved this outfit. He looks a little bored.
I think he's just not mad enough yet.
He'll get there. Oh, I saw. Oh, let's see the expression changing slightly.
Game War cereal.
Yeah. But I think he looks a little bit more like me. Here I've been mantling him all along, and now he's mantling the old me.
Definitely the facial hair. You need to get in on like the golden eyes, though.
Well, I have those contacts for when I go out to cons and things of that sort.
What?
After about an hour,
Wes?
I feel like little clay pigeons on my eyeballs.
Yeah, the actor on the screen, or the voice actor is Wes Johnson.
Staring contest. People don't want to continue to look you in the eye.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Wes
Just,
Johnson,
like,
he's
darting away and
yeah,
just,
one
like,
of the voice
not
actors.
looking at me right in the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for anybody?
Yeah,
that
he's
they want to get into voice acting or pursue a career in voice
probably lost some
I
weight
would
as he's
say
gotten
first
older.
Things first, get yourself a recorder, whether it's a handheld recorder, something we have them all on our phones now. You can build yourself a studio pretty
Yeah, he's
quickly and easily, but you got to work on the desk.
been around a long time. Done a
Just
bunch of the
handheld
voices.
recorder. Get some dialogue and start reading this dialogue. And when I say read, I don't mean read, because it sounds like you're reading, you've taken somebody out of it.
Right.
If it sounds like you're acting, you take somebody out of it. I need you to just become. Look at those lines and remember that your job is not just to read what's on the paper. It's to bring it to life. And voice acting also includes breathing, sighing, laughing. Make it natural. Bring emotion to it. Try different things. I do a class through a theater lab of teaching video game voice acting. And that's one of the things I work with people on, is you listen to this stuff, you record this stuff, and let it sit for 2 days.
His shirt is cheese for everyone.
Ideally, you're 100% in character and you're not thinking about all these things. If you give yourself 2 days distance, you can listen to it a little more objectively.
Yeah.
And then you say to yourself, that's when your director comes in, or your technical director. Never while you're performing, but when you're listening back to it 2 days later and you go, okay, I could have done this, could have done that, because you're not just training your voice.
Dang, he has lost weight. Holy crap.
And that's hugely important.
I mean, that's definitely him, though.
To succeed,
That's crazy.
You got to do it. And so I tell people in my class, this is their homework assignment every week, and they get something, or they get little lines and things of that sort to work on.
Yeah, that's crazy. He's lost a lot of weight.
I never listen to it. I want them to listen to it, and then we discuss what they've done. Because
yeah, I don't remember who Ron Hope was, but yeah, I'm sure he's a few characters, or at least, well, he's that one.
And you want to.
But I'm sure they used more unique voices in Starfield than just having the same person play 8 people. But that's cool. He was in that too. Like I said, I feel like he's probably in the process of doing voiceover for Elder Scrolls 6 too, as they work on that.
Where you can go in and maybe get yourself a job doing mods. And, it's important. First of all, if you do a mod and you do it well, you're going to have stuff that you can use in your demo.
Right.
Also, these people are up-and-comers in the industry. And word of mouth is very important. So if you can start on a ground level with somebody
more than 3 times
they begin to know you and trust you, and you
Yeah, so like each voice can be like more unique that way, and he was definitely there. I don't remember who Ron Hope was. I'm pretty sure he was like an important because there's like the Hope
is going out there and looking
colony
for
or something like that.
You can look
But
at backstage. You can look at
ooh, there's the map. Oh, the map looks improved.
the DC area. There's a thing called DragonConnects.com that shows free auditions.
Yeah, that's
casting call club.
that's
online.
Yeah, Hope Tech. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, 2026, we've been kind of looking at that for a while. That's likely.
Discord group, and it's just full of my alumni, and they
Full of my alumni. That's funny.
Everybody's really helpful. And
they help each other
with their experiences.
And that's the thing. Work with people who are working.
Yeah, 2026 would make sense considering
I could do it.
when they announced it, how far along they likely have been with it.
If I really wanted to.
Since Starfield and.
Have you been doing anything about it? No, but someone will offer me a job eventually. Now you got to chase everything down. You got to do it because you love it. That's it. Nobody's getting rich doing this, but you have to love it. Yeah. Oh, and God help me, Jess, I love it.
He's cool.
Yeah, that is just great life advice. You heard it. Do it.
That young Balrod's not going to get any older.
And then you can immortalize yourself forever in a video game.
Yeah.
Multiple characters, like Wes, if you're lucky.
And to see this come back all these years later, and it's going to be, I think this is going to be huge. I think people are just going to love it all over again.
Well, they don't have to wait much longer because it is available today.
Go get it.
It's available now.
Go download it. It's on Xbox Series X, NES, and day one on Game Pass. It is also on PC and PlayStation 5. So.
And I don't know what you're waiting for. You're sitting around. It's not going to just drop into your lap. Go find it. Go get it.
I got nothing.
19, yeah. It's a.
Thanks so much. Thank you so much.
And there's probably not.
Finn. You're an excellent.
There's probably not that big of a drop in the amount of actual characters between Oblivion and Skyrim, like in the story. Oh, they're gonna show the thing here again. I'm gonna try to put it up at 720p real quick.
Years ago. But for all these years, I've never been the ruler of my own dreams.
I don't know if the 720p is gonna work. Maybe if I pause it. Let buffer for a second. Alright.
This is the 27th of Last Seed. The year of Akatosh 433. These are the closing days of the Third Era and the final hours of my life. I have seen the gates of Oblivion, beyond which no waking eye may see.
Okay.
This is only the beginning. Worse is yet to come.
Yeah, it doesn't want to run it for 720p. That's unfortunate. I'm also doing it in the big theater mode to make it bigger too, so.
The time of cleansing draws nigh.
Who now will save us from the coming darkness? Here you must find your own path.
Remember the Emperor!
Find him and shut the jaws of Oblivion.
Well, no, like, I think this live, and that's probably it. No, what they said was that essentially the visuals are completely redone in Unreal 5, or yeah, Unreal Engine. I'm pretty sure Unreal 5, and so the underlying, the logic, the computations, you know, that are going on for gameplay and you know the various other system and stuff, those are still in the creation engine. So it's like authentic to the way the game operates, but the visual aspect and the visual performance is all done in the Unreal Engine. Yeah, let's see. So you were saying Morrowind has more NPCs than Skyrim and Oblivion combined. Excluding DLCs, Morrowind has 2,675. Holy crap. Oblivion 855 and Skyrim. So yeah, there's not a huge difference between going from Oblivion to Skyrim when it comes to like the amount of characters, and yet you had a difference of, you had 19 voice actors in Oblivion versus what, 70 you said in Skyrim, which is pretty crazy. You had 19 people voicing 855 characters overall with Oblivion. So yeah, there was a lot of reused lines and obviously the actors themselves. Starfield 1559. Yeah. Morrowind had 14. Morrowind for freaking 2,700 NPCs. That's crazy. Now, it's also possible that not all of them spoke, but still, that's a crazy amount of NPCs over the course of the game. So, but yeah, so I mean, it makes sense that now with the new one, they probably used a bunch more actors to kind of flesh out the character, so it's not literally the same voice with like half of the characters that walk up to you. So, all right, well, I'm gonna shut it down. I gotta go get ready to do some mowing, and then I'm about 2/3 of the way, 3/4 of the way downloaded on the game, so I'll probably play that later this evening, but I got other stuffs to do. That's true. Yeah, Morrowind also invented the really cool thing where they power cycled the Xbox during loading screens to refresh the RAM. Yeah, they were clever with games back in the day. They would actually like optimize and go, you know what, we need this game to work on this console. How do we get, you know, it to get the most out of the hardware? Let's just power cycle the console while the game is running. So, all right, guys. It's gonna be fun, and like I said, if you want to like see how that all looks, if you're not gonna be playing it right away, I definitely suggest going to one of the official channels and watching it in like actual full resolution, like HD resolution, because I was running that in pretty low res to make sure it was stable. So, but if you think about streaming the gameplay, yeah, at some point, I'll either do it for streams or like even while I'm just chilling and playing, I'll probably turn it on, even if I don't necessarily do like chat with it or whatever. But one way or the other, I'll probably it'll be there somehow, I think, at some point. So, but all right, I'll catch you guys later.